Hello. I am Jen Beaupre, your host of Manitoba Arts Network Digital Creation Swap, and it's our last show, and I'm a little sad about it, but I'm really happy to be here with these ladies who have created new works for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for all the shows. If you've tuned in, thank you for being with us tonight. Manitoba Arts Network connects and showcases and promotes visual and performing artists with communities across Manitoba. I would like to read the land acknowledgement. The Manitoba Arts Network and our members live and work on Treaty 1, 2, 3, and 5 territories. We acknowledge and appreciate the past, present, and future generations of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, Dene peoples, and the Métis Nation, as well as the Inuit people who have a strong community here in Manitoba. So if you're new tonight, I'm just going to give you a quick explanation of how the digital creation swap works. It's super cool concept. These two artists, one is a visual artist, the other is a performing artist. Each of them provided the other one with 3 works. And then they became inspired by each other's work, potentially chose one piece, and created a new piece based on the inspiration. Every time I explain it, it's a new kind of complicated. I hope that came across. We would also like to thank Canada Council for the Arts for funding this series of 5 shows. Thank you, Canada Council. I think we are going to, I need to tell everybody about you guys. Raine Hamilton's ethereal voice and lyrics are the forefront of these powerful and relatable tunes. Written both in English and French, alongside cello and double bass, with Raine on violin or guitar, these songs have a moving string quartet feel with a cosmic reach. Awesome. Raine has toured Canada extensively, driving, flying, and floating her way coast to coast, meeting so many amazing humans along the way. She reports a full and smiling heart, and I believe her. She seems full and smiling already. And Jan Jenkins from Quebec. Jan worked in Alberta, retiring to Manitoba, where she creates original art for smaller spaces and wearable art for that unique look. Working in pen, ink, linocut. Is that how I say that, Jan?
Yes.
Awesome. Acrylics, you'll have to explain what that is later. Other media, Jan's training includes MFA instructed art workshops and retreats. She connects with Canada's arts community through several arts organizations, displays her works in group and solo shows around Manitoba, and sells her creations through galleries online. My greatest joy is creating visual art from patterns around me, the rhythms of line, shape, color, contrast. I lose myself in the creative process. It's flow translating to visual imagery. Beautiful, both of you ladies. I'm really excited to see your works. Let's see the first video, which I think is Jan's. Here we go.
All right, I have not seen this yet, and so I am thrilled.
Oh, let's do it.
I'm thrilled to check it out. And so, Jan, this is a visual art piece that you have made inspired by a song that I wrote.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Beautiful song.
Well, thank you. I am so honored that you would create this. It's so cool to make things that are connected to each other. I love it.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
I totally want to, I'm going to ask you so much about how you felt about this process, because I was super hesitant and then a total believer.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I know. But I felt really challenged. But yes. Okay. So let's, I think in your video, Jan, we're going to hear the song that you were inspired by. Yeah?
Yes, you are.
Beautiful. Let's go. Thank you.
Okay, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Should we be hearing it yet?
Yeah, where's the song?
Gifted these feet that walk the earth, and tread stepping lightly. The earth is our body and our lover. and I've never seen a green this green before. Brave land of preaching, sit with me and lift me to the sky, that I may hear you. Covered in crystal, holy mantle where the sun is set. And I've never known a light this light before. Sing to me, starlight, shine that I might find my way through. And call to me, sliver of the moon, waxing, waning, and revealing. And come now, indweller of my heart, chase the sorrow from the darkest heart. Offer the breaking of my bones, the pouring of my heart, that I could be a channel of thy peace. Make me warm, make me willing. And come now, indweller of my heart, chase the sorrow from the darkest part.
Jenkins, that is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Raine Hamilton, what a beautiful piece to be inspired by. I feel like you want to react to it. Please react to it.
Jan, that is so cool.
I really got caught up in not only the tempo of your music, but I really got caught up in the words, you know, green this green, walk the earth, stepping lightly.
Yeah.
Our earth is our body, and lover lift me to the sky, accept my offerings, channel of peace. It was just a beautiful message, and I felt that it was so connected to not only the earth, but to the snowy owl and to the bounty that we get from the earth. So, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Sorry, was the snowy owl mentioned?
There's
yes, in her well, no, not in her piece, but she talks about lift me to the sky, and I believe I had this feeling that owls, and particularly snowy owls, have a connection with rain, and so that's why I incorporated the snowy owl feather.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the snowy owl is on the album cover. It's part of the album cover art of that record.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
clear, though, you two don't know each other, do you?
No.
Through this process.
Amazing.
Through this process,
Amazing.
yeah.
Well, I have to be honest, when the color, I was super anticipating the color and I wanted it to be green because it was such a powerful lyric, but it was absolutely as beautiful, maybe more than I imagined. That is actually a really beautiful, stunning piece. How big is it?
Thank you. That's 11 by 15. And what it is it's all the wild Manitobas, wild plants. They're either healing plants or they're edible plants. And
Ooh.
yeah, so like wild ginger and wild licorice and bloodroot and indigo milk-cap mushrooms. And so it's all has to do with Manitoba and
Do you
and
have
wild.
it with you, the piece?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
I really love this
Oh,
piece.
that is so cool.
I really love this piece.
So
Absolutely stunning. Well, we will get more into it, but why don't we do the switcheroo flipperoo? And why don't we
Yes.
watch and listen to your video? Raine
Sure.
Hamilton.
And I'll just mention that. So the swap that Jan and I did is that Jan is the visual artist making a visual piece in response to a song that I wrote. And then my job was to create a new song in response to a visual piece that Jan had created. And Jan, you sent me such beautiful ones to choose from. And I chose this one of yours that is called New Day. Is that the correct title?
yes.
All right. And we'll see a clip of it in the video that I made. Now, I am not, so familiar with the medium of video, and I couldn't get it like totally in. I couldn't figure it out, but we see most of it. So I'm sorry for that, but the whole thing is just awesome. And I was inspired so much by the joy that piece evokes for me. And it just makes me just feel like radiant with the joy that life offers. So that's what I'm going for here. This song is en français. I write in French. And Jan, I think that's a language that you speak.
Petit peu.
That's great.
Were the pieces similar in a similar style to the one that we just saw?
No.
No.
It's pen and ink, but it's a different style.
Cool. Let's listen and look.
Deux, trois. Étends la main, étends le cœur, caressé par son lueur. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à ton cœur. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Ouvre les yeux, ouvre l'esprit. Le brouillard s'éclaircit. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Veille, quand l'arbre, elle perd sa branche, la terre lui offre sa balance. Ouh, ouh. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Le soleil.
Yes.
Aw.
Absolutely beautiful. And I could understand such lots of it.
Wonderful.
The Brilliant Journey.
Wonderful.
Br-
Beautiful.
Oh,
that what it is?
Jan. Uh, La brillance de la journée.
Oh, the brilliance of
The
the journey
brilliance of the day. The
of
brilliance
the
Yeah.
day.
Yes.
So beautiful. Ah,
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
Oh, I'm so glad that that strikes you that way. Your work
Yes.
was so beautiful to work from and to resonate with. So fun.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And that instrument you were using, what kind of instrument is that?
are you strumming a violin or something? A viola?
Yeah, I was. That's how it just came out. You know, these things happen. Often, when I am writing for the violin and the voice, like there's some pieces that I play where I'm bowing and singing, and often, like as I'm like writing and thinking things out in like a harmonic way, like how the notes form together to create harmonies, I do that in that position. That's called like the rest position of the violin, and it's not used often for performing, but it does happen. You get it. You can get a different sound quality. You can get like a really powerful, like what's called a pizzicato stroke on the violin, and then the strumming. Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot, but I think it is a cool time.
It's
And
like
I'm just,
uke vibes.
it is uke vibes of the violin. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
and that one actually is a 5-string fiddle, so it has like the E, A, D, and G strings of the violin, and then it has a whole bonus string of C. So it makes it like a hybrid violin viola, and so I use the C string actually a lot.
Yeah.
You're a multi-instrumentalist, hey?
Yeah, that's my main instrument. That's the one I've studied the most. I do play the guitar. I do sing the singing.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well,
fiddle is where I've gone the deepest.
I love all the flavor that you infuse, the Canadian, the Métis, the Acadian. Like it's just
I guess, eh?
yeah, just a beautiful. And coming from Quebec, I love the French music scene and the joie de vivre that they infuse in all their music, right?
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah.
That's a connection I hadn't thought of, but yeah, I am going for joie de vivre, and there is a lot of
Joie.
francophone influence in there for sure.
Can
For
you
sure.
maybe give us a bit of a translation for those of us who are not as multilingual?
Totally. So Jan's work to me felt so joyful, and like I would sit with it and just like meditate with it to just like to feel it. I really wanted to experience it, and it felt to me like just like so much of the whimsy and joy of life in that work. And it reminded me kind of like a Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds situation, you know, where like the flowers of yellow and green towering over your head, etc. Just like where things are great, life is beautiful, and it really helped me to tune in like in my life and in my heart where I feel that, and I could write from that place. And so how does it start? So it's saying étends la main, étends l'esprit. So it's like to extend our hand and extend our spirit, that the day is beautiful, that like we are part of the world, that's what's going on there. And then the chorus is like, oh, le soleil, like, oh, the sun. Great news. Oh, la brillance de la journée. That that life is brilliant, that like we get to participate in this as a general vibe. And then, so that was the pre-chorus. Then we got brille, rayon, brille, which is like the ray of the sun that shines. And it's saying like, shine, ray of the sun, like shine on us. And it's just like a very joyful, like, what's the word? Like invocation, I guess, of the light and of the joy that can be involved living on the earth. And then there's a bridge part, which, Jan, I have some follow-up questions about this very specific part of your work. And the bridge section goes, même quand l'arbre, elle perd sa branche, la terre lui offre sa balance. And so it's saying, like, even when the tree that you depict so beautifully loses her branch, the earth is there to help to balance that.
Mm-hmm.
And life is able to continue, and like that. And I love that about your work, that when I noticed that, I felt like, oh, cool. I want to know what's going on for you there.
Yeah, we're all broken just a little bit, right?
I love it.
And so we all just try to carry on and greet each new day with a bit of optimism. And I think that piece, it was purely intuitive when it came to a lot of it. And, I didn't even realize until after the fact that I had put that broken piece in there. But also the tree is also taking comfort from the earth, and she's putting up new shoots, so there's new growth happening, and she won't be alone very much longer because there's new trees taking sprout, right? So yeah, so that it's an optimistic piece for sure. And then I think you wanted to know a little bit about the patterning in the hills.
Yeah.
A lot of that is a spiral shape, and actually spiral shapes are symbolic of new ferns when they unfurl that leaf, and so that's a sign of new growth and of vitality and hope and peace and strength. So that a lot of the patterning in the hillsides had some spiral shape influences in it, and that's kind of what that brought to that piece as well. It kind of all fit in together. So, and if you notice with my silent offerings, I actually started off with 3 spiral shapes and didn't even think of the relationship, but yeah, that's kind of that symbolism. So
I feel as though you two are very well matched in spirit and in heart.
I agree.
Both,
I think
yeah,
this is true.
really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
beautiful artists, both of you in your own right, but very connected in spirit, in intention.
Well, I went and bought Raine's CD, and I've been listening to it now for 3 months. And in addition to the 3 songs that she gave me, and she's just an incredible musician. So it's been a real joy to collaborate with Raine and hear what she was able to create, being inspired by my piece of art as well.
Yo, that's so
Oh,
touching.
I feel the same, Jan.
That's so touching. I want to ask you guys some things that have popped up for me. I'm curious why that ended up in French, because you do write in both.
Yeah.
So why'd you go French? Because French is more like
No good answer.
no, oh,
It
just
just
random.
happened. Yeah. It just happens. Like, for often, sometimes I can set out with like a very specific intention. And I think there's real merit to that as like an artistic practice. Like, today I will write something about this with this framework within these limitations. I think that's like very helpful. But that's not what I was doing this time. I just.
And face it, Raine, how can you get La Journée and La Soleil to rhyme in English? I mean,
Yeah, you got it. Like, it worked out pretty well, right?
You got to work with the language that works for what you're trying to write.
So yeah, maybe that's why it showed up that way.
But
Just
French
setting
is
me up for sweet
also
rhymes.
Yeah, French is also so beautifully poetic. I remember I dated a French guy a million billion years ago, and I would always ask him, "How do you say blah 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 in French?" And I remember asking him when John Mayer's big tune was out, "Your Body is a Wonderland." I was like, "How would I say that?" And he was like, ton corps est un millénaire." And I was like, "Damn, that's so beautiful." Sorry if I've butchered it. It was a million years ago, but everything just turns so. I don't know. There's just something about French that's just so even when you don't completely understand it, you're just like, I know that's beautiful.
That's why they call it a romance language.
Yes.
Because anybody who speaks it, it's just a beautiful language. So
it really is. It really is. Well, I feel like we've kind of already done this, but I'm going to do it a little bit more formally and just ask either of you, start with you, Jan. Is there anything, I think you already did this, but I'll give you one more chance. When you heard the new piece, how did it wash over you? Did it make sense? I think I know your answer. Did it make sense when you know your intention, when you know the piece of art? Did it fit for you?
So, first off, music is very important to my art practice. I plug in beautiful music every time I create a piece of art, because that's the way to let go of the logical thinking, controlling brain, and just channel that intuitive side. And out of the 3 songs that Raine gave me for a choice, Braveland just really, really clicked with me, and I just loved the tempo And I loved how light and delicate she made it sound. Like it was almost like you're almost floating along as you're walking along the path she's laid out. And so for me that resonated right away. And then I just felt like, because my focus was looking down on the ground where this person was walking and traveling to before they take off and fly into the sky. And so I just felt like I had to do something that strongly relates to Manitoba and wild Manitoba. And I love plants anyway, and I have fun researching the symbolism of different plants and imagery. So anyway, that was a lot of fun, and I kind of had an idea. The stumbling block I had was where to start. And as soon as I laid those 3 spirals down on a rough piece of paper, I went, that's where I'm going to start. And once I had that down, it just kind of flowed from there.
Is a lot of your work plants?
Some of it, a lot of it's patterning and abstract work, and I do love doing plants and foliage.
Like, look at the background. Look at the background of Raine's. Like, I feel like there's some really good connection.
We've got a lot in common.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Raine, maybe you'd like to tell us, I mean, whatever you like, about how you reacted to the new piece Jan created, or I guess, again, you've both already done this, but anything you'd like to share about the new piece, the piece you're inspired by?
Okay, so Jan, with the piece that you created, and what is it called? Silent Offering?
Yes.
Oh, that's just great. That is so spot on too, with what I'm going for. I think you really vibed with what I had created, the original song. I see in your work represented the lyric. I've never seen this green before, which is about just like beholding the earth and just be like the awe of belonging like to this place and of our part in the cycle of all things here. I get the sense that you get it.
I do. Yeah.
Cool.
I listened to your song over and over, and it just really captivated me. And of course, I was writing down some of the lyrics that really popped out for me, and that was part of the starting the creative process for me. Yeah.
You guys are making me feel guilty. Like I need to go sniff the grass and put my hands in the soil. I'm such a
you could do it anytime.
fuddy-duddy.
It's so nice.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit, Raine, about your songwriting process in general, as it relates perhaps to this song, but maybe in general as well.
Sure. So okay, as I was mentioning, I think there's a lot of merit in like practicing creation. So setting like, some specific goals or limitations or whatever, and like creating within that. It's like staying fit, keeping the wires ready. And so sometimes I do that. And often my experience though is more like a song just showing up, or more like something just like tapping, like
I'm jealous.
Hi, hello, knock, knock, knock. I'm like, oh my gosh, awesome, something's here. And then I feel so like responsible, like as the steward of that little muse or whatever. And then the process often from there feels like, I like this metaphor of how ice forms. Like if we try to form ice in like totally, totally pure water, the crystals have a hard time forming because they don't have like a scaffolding to build on. But if you add like a speck of something, like a cool idea that comes knocking, then the crystal can form more easily around that beginning. And it can just form and form and form and become this beautiful structure. That is what creative process feels like for me often. So I need a speck of something. And sometimes I can deliberately choose it, like when I'm doing like the practice I'm talking about. And then sometimes it turns up. And it's really, really, really cool when that happens. So a lot of things turned up for me for this one. And part of why I enjoyed writing it in French is because it is not my first language. I'm a French immersion graduate. That's how I speak French.
I was going to ask
And
that.
so it doesn't process in the same way. It's not as quick for me as my langue
Native tongue,
maternelle,
yep.
my native tongue, my first language. And so it just kind of takes like a bit of a route to get there. And sometimes that buys me a bit of like distance from something, which is beneficial.
In a way, it's almost like picking up an instrument that's a little less familiar. I can kind of see what you're saying, where it's like, oh, this feels a little different than usual. And I love, Yeah.
And so in this case,
mindful.
Sorry?
Yeah. You have to be a bit more mindful, I think, right? It slows you down a little bit and you're a bit more mindful.
Yeah. It slowed me down, and it helps me to extend a bit farther, or like it helps to steer me places I wouldn't normally fit, you know? Like if my first language and my, you know, the way that I usually write songs, which is more often on the guitar, there's well-worn paths there, you know? Mm-hmm. And this song just showed up and wanted to do like a different path. And so routes that got me to a different path were more appropriate. That's just where it went. So the French was kind of a less worn path for me, and then that new way of doing the violin to it was unfamiliar.
So does this song sound a tad different than what you'd say like the bulk of your work, your vibe?
You know, I think it still has the Raine Hamilton vibe. I think it is more concise, and it's got more pep. I'm interested, that's an area that I'm working on in my art, is to just hone more tools for expressing the pep of life. So this was such a great fit for that.
Totally. Yes. Do you think that you would include this song in a show or on a record?
Yeah, I can see this working many places.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I like both pieces quite a lot. The one, sorry, what was the title of the one that you used, Jan?
Brave Land was the title of Raine's song.
Yeah, it's going to go on my collection of awesome stuff that I've
been
exposed to.
She changed the name of the song, though I was working with the original. But the funny thing is her new name for that song fit even better with the piece that I created. So, yeah, it was kind of cool.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, Jan, could you tell us a little bit about the two works we've now seen of yours, your new piece as well as the one with the broken branch that Raine was inspired by? Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that particular medium, one was pen, one was...
It's called pen and ink, and what it is it's permanent ink, like India ink. And so I've always loved pen and ink. And one of the things that I've found to be very grounding, very meditative, and actually connects me with that creative side is what they call Zen Doodling, right? So I've kind of taken Zen Doodling to a different level in that it's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just playing around on paper with ink. And then after the fact, when I've come up with my design, some of my designs are very abstract. You could almost say that they are inspired by textiles and ceramic tiles from the Middle East.
Yeah, totally.
And so what I do is I love color. You know, I mean, they look beautiful black and white, but I just have to have color in there. So I'll either play around with watercolors or acrylic inks. I have used alcohol inks, but they're not light fast. And so I just love the vibrancy when it all comes together.
Sorry, what's light fast?
Light fast means it won't fade or change color. And I don't know about you, Raine, but do you find, like I find about 40% of the way in through my artwork, I'm going, oh my goodness, what the heck am I doing? Like, is this going to actually come together or not? And then about 75% of the way through, I kind of get through that period where I'm going, this is a disaster. And I actually start feeling like it's coming together.
This is a disaster.
So I don't know if your creation process is the same as mine for that. So, yeah.
I experience often a phase that feels like a mess, the mess phase. And I
Yeah.
feel like a scientist or someone who just like has like all of these specimens laid out, and like I want them to please organize themselves. And I feel a lot better with the song when I have sections. So like with this song, when I had like, okay, like there's like an A, B, and a C section, and then a bridge, I'm like, great news, now we can build something. Because it's like having, then I had like, 4 kinds of Lego blocks that I can then use to construct something. Whereas before they were just like the molten goo that Lego blocks are made of. And that is trickier.
How did you feel?
Yeah, I hear you on that. And that's the same with my patterning. When I put in patterns or colors, I like to have them in at least 3 spots, because then you get that harmony happening, and you get some kind of repetition sort of happening.
What do you mean 3 spots?
So for example, if I had where I put mushrooms in the piece, I had mushrooms in 3 different locations. Or the clover, I had clover in 3 different locations. And that way you don't end up with this huge clump of something here. And, so it marries the whole piece together.
Like
and
a perfect asymmetry kind of.
Yeah, and I think music's the same way. You've got these stanzas, and then you've got your in betweens, and it all kind of just beautifully develops into, like you said, a cohesive song, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like Jan told us that she almost always works with music playing for inspiration or to let go of the cerebral a little bit. How did you feel about having a visual inspiration? I had never done it and was like, what if I let this artist down? What if they, like, I don't know. I think I'm a little bit more tightly wound than you possibly, but what did you think of having a visual inspo?
Oh, I like it. I'm a very visual person, so maybe this falls within my wheelhouse. When I write, it's very image centric. Like I think a lot of the things I create are are descriptive. And when I am singing and writing, I am often like seeing a place or an action happening, and then I am describing that. That's like a kind of like a translation process that happens from inside to outside for me. So, so then that's why I was describing the first thing I did, Jan, with your painting is to just sit with it and to just feel the ways that it resonates for me so that I can then go inside, outside.
Actually, your first song, the one that Jan was inspired by, it was very visual. There was colors, there was all of those things. I'm actually I want more sensory, especially imagery in my songs. Do you have any tips to get out of just the feels and more into the senses?
Man, maybe you should like draw it first.
Maybe Jan should.
Maybe ask someone to draw it first and then write a thing about it.
Maybe that's why I really liked having that. Actually, this is a kind of a pivotal moment for me. That I hadn't written a song for an embarrassingly long time.
It happens.
I did this, and having that visual, like I would not have used autumn leaves or moon or any of these visuals, but having that visual to pull from, I would do this again. Would you do this again?
Oh yes, yeah, I'm in. It's a great process.
Have you done it before?
No, but I have worked with different kinds of prompts, like in my practice.
You can use dream boards or vision boards, and a lot of artists, visual artists, actually use dream and vision boards where you take items that are visually appealing to you and you put them on the board, and then all of a sudden it's like it's telling you a story, and you can either translate that poetically, you can translate that visually. And so those are kind of fun to work with if you ever are short of ideas. And I always look at it this way: inspiration has to find you working. So even if I'm just doodling in a journal for 10 minutes a day, whatever, you wouldn't believe how many of those things have spun off into an actual piece of art, right?
I feel like I'm getting schooled by both of you.
I want to just grab something really quick to show you. I'll be right back.
Jan, I just picked journaling back up after my mentor has been encouraging me to do so for years, and I've really resisted it. I've really pushed back. But I have to tell you, it's been really healthy.
I have these little cards, So I got these in a card shop, and they are little itty bitty postcards. And they're all just like such exquisite, weird drawings. And I sometimes will turn to these if I'm like, okay,
Yep.
find me working, like Jan says. And there's just like a bunch, they're just like so cool. Like, here's like a little fox and a friend on a tower of something. Here's like a castle happening.
Yeah.
And so I just like to keep little things like this handy. And I think, yeah, it is up my alley to work from the visual.
I feel like though both of you are very disciplined, even though that word sounds a bit harsh, I think you both know what I mean. You've both used the word, I think, Raine, you've used the word practice. Jan, you just talked about inspiration, finding you working, etc. I think that you are both very inspiring to other artists of making a practice and putting your energy towards being a creator, being a creative. So I feel like I'm always waiting. It'll come to me. Hopefully something will come to me.
Yeah. No.
Not really.
No.
Like, it is a practice. Journaling, as I was saying.
Well,
I don't always feel like journaling, but when I put that pen in my hand, I'm like, oh, I didn't know I felt that. I didn't know my little voice wanted to tell me that thing.
Yes, and I agree with you, Jen, that I found trying to do work in a sketchbook every day, I felt like it was a bit of a ball and chain thing, but actually, if I embrace it, then it actually comes back in spades to actually do that.
Are either of you familiar with morning pages from The Artist's Way? So I will confess to you that book, I've never made it past chapter 1 morning pages.
It's the best part.
Oh, I always was really mad. Every year that I've tried it in my younger years, I find these journals every once in a while that there's just 5 pages that say, I'm really angry about this. I'm really pissed off that I've decided to take this on. I'm going to keep writing. I'm really angry. That's all they say until recently, when I'm like, oh, it's actually for me. This is a gift for me that I'm giving myself. This isn't just some scheduled thing because the book says. There's a reason the book says it. There's a reason people do it. There's a reason, this is a way, like I say, for that voice that I can't always hear when the world is loud and when my brain is loud. This is a way for that little voice to find a way out. I haven't had it translate into songwriting or into music yet, but it's new. It's a new practice that I would like to hang on to.
Well, right on. And I haven't made it to the end either.
Yes!
I haven't made it.
Thank you.
I have a question for you guys. Do you find that your creativity depends on having some quiet time, like a space where you can just think and create on your own? Or do you find that when life gets too busy, it just kind of puts a kibosh to your creativity? Or do you find that infuses you with that energy and gets you going? So
I'm very inspired by people, by situational people-y things in my life. I'm constantly writing little notes in my phone. But again, my discipline, I feel like both of you, I need to just honor because I feel like both of you have discipline. Discipline might be the wrong word. Just you're in practice, like you're in it. And I'm always waiting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to tell you, the most difficult part of all of this was the technology, was actually the videoing. And once I got it working, it was all the little glitches trying to get it all working, right? And once I got
Jan,
it
your
working,
video was wonderful.
Yeah, way to go.
Well, thank you, but it was a 3-month struggle to get there. So, but another thing off the bucket list, right? I now know how to do videoing.
Yeah, good work.
Amazing. Do you think, guys, that it might be fun to watch each video one more time before we have a little bit more chit chat?
I am in.
Let's do it. Voice of God powers the
tread stepping lightly, the earth is our body and our lover. And I've never seen a green this green before. Brave land of preaching, sit with me and lift me to the sky, that I may hear you. Covered in crystal, holy mantle where the sun is set. And I've never known a light this light before. Sing to me, starlight, shine that I might find my way through. And call to me, sliver of the moon, waxing, waning, and revealing. And come now, indweller of my heart, chase the sorrow from the darkest part. Offer the breaking of my bones, the pouring of my heart, that I could be a channel of thy peace. Make me warm, make me willing. And come now, indweller of my heart, chase the sorrow from the darkest part.
It's just so beautiful.
So cool.
There is some hella detail in there.
Thank you.
It's really beautiful. And for some reason, your bees don't look scary.
Oh, they're happy bees.
Yay.
No kidding. I think that, Raine, you noticed this before, but I only caught it this time, that at the beginning, those were kind of inspirational like plants that she had researched. I missed
Cool,
that.
Jan. Yeah.
Is that what I caught, Jan?
Yes, so there's wild strawberries and sarsaparilla and bur oak and wild ginger and bees and clover and wood sorrel and a number of other things as well.
And did you actually look as you were going, like refer to them?
I looked them up online and took some reference photos. You saw at the beginning of the video. Some of those were my reference photos. And then once I kind of had the shape kind of in my head, then I just went for it and drew out the shapes and put them in different places. And then I layered underneath all the basic large shapes. It's called drawing behind. You lay your shapes that are closest to you, and then you start working on the shapes behind and behind. So that way you get some depth to the piece. As far as getting color and design work underneath all the large leaves and stuff like that. So
You're such a talent. You're such a talent. It's beautiful. Raine, did you play all the instruments in the song we just heard?
I am part of a string trio, so I am the songwriter and band leader of the Raine Hamilton String Trio. So you're also hearing in there the cello and double bass magic of Nat Felicitas and Quentin Bart.
It's almost as though I read that half an hour ago aloud to everybody.
Oh yeah, we did cover that.
Oh,
It's
yes,
still true.
It's really great though. Really great vibe. What genre do you, I know that's a really icky question for a lot of artists, but what genre do you like to call, like, what do you go by? Folk?
Like folk
Folk.
has the general umbrella, and then if I want to get more specific, chamber folk, because we're like, or I would say like it's like if Joni Mitchell had a string quartet. That's our vibe.
yeah.
That is really apt. That is really accurate. I really like your voice. I feel like as a voice coach, I'm always listening to what the new sort of cool vocal trends and textures are.
Oh,
and
neat.
I feel that your voice sits. Do you know who Yeba is?
No.
Your voice sits in this really new, not really new, really popular voice that's emerging
Oh my gosh, am I
in
on
pop
trend?
music. Yes, however,
Cool.
I
Okay.
also feel like you're using that texture. It's the texture really that's trending right now, really velvety texture, but you're applying it very differently than what our pop artists are doing with that sound right now. So it's really neat to hear that popular texture of the time of now, being used in such a, I don't know, a more earthy way than I'm hearing it applied usually. Really beautiful.
That's interesting. I am gonna do some Googling later.
Check out Yeba. You might be like, girl, what? Because she's like, it's very about riffing.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, but the texture itself is just velvet. I don't relate. My voice currently is not on trend in any way. Yours is, and you're
Singing
using
is just
really,
always on trend.
Singing? Well,
Yeah, it's on trend.
yeah, sure.
got this.
I think just because I'm always trying to mess in pop, actually, your work really reminds me of what my roots were and what my young years were. A lot of these swaps have reminded me of what my roots were, and I'm starting to realize from you other artists that I think that pop, I might have to let the reins go a little bit in really wanting to make pop music, because you guys are reminding me how much beauty there is and how much you can say when you're not worried about making sure it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds and there's no introduction and you only use these words and it repeats this many times. And not that your song didn't have really beautiful structure as you described for the audience, but there's just a different kind of freedom that I'm envious is the wrong word, but I miss it. It's really, really beautiful.
All right.
That songwriting is really beautiful. Well, let's go and check out your vid.
Trois. Étends la main, étends le cœur, caressé par son lueur. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à ton cœur. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Ouvre les yeux, ouvre l'esprit. Le brouillard s'éclaircit. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte à mon cœur. Quand l'arbre, elle perd sa branche, la terre lui offre sa balance. Ouh, ouh. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte de mon cœur. Brille, rayon, brille, ouvre la porte de mon cœur. Oh, oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Oh, le soleil. Oh, la brillance de la journée. Le soleil. Yay.
Super beautiful.
Thank
Super
you. It was
beautiful.
really fun to go full whimsy in the little corner there.
I was just noticing the
Yeah.
full whimsy. I missed that before.
I've got my little son on my fridge now. Come on, little son.
Yes.
That's great.
It's
I love
handy
that.
now. I like it.
Did that song flow out of you pretty rapidly? I know you talked about the French kind of being a little bit of a slower process, but
Did it flow out of me pretty rapidly? Like, I guess. What even is time? I don't know. What I like to do is to kind of like let my unconscious mind like just have its way with it. So what I did was like I had booked a couple of days to like really, really woodshed this out. Like, you know what I mean? Like chop wood on this, really put intention and energy into it and like work. And, but a couple of weeks before that, I started to spend time with the art because I wanted, you know, my unconscious mind, like in the back burner of my brain, to be sitting with that and like finding connections and ideas for me. So I love to do that if I have time, and I did with this work.
Mhm.
I love your process. I am humbled.
Well,
I
cool. I'm glad you
basically
think it's neat.
I do. I looked at the painting in my email every day and was like, I don't know, and just closed it for like a month.
I have to go back and listen to the thing you made. I haven't checked out yours yet.
But don't you find if you give yourself a chance to absorb it a little bit day by day, it's like in your back of your head, things are starting to germinate and they're starting to grow a little bit. And next thing you know, all of a sudden it bursts out and you have something that you're actually putting out there.
I feel like I'm just learning to listen. When I looked at my paintings, I'm like, oh, I think this is what I want it to be about, but that I don't really know. And in the end, it was.
Cool.
But I don't trust. I'm learning to trust. I should put it in a positive.
Yeah.
I'm learning to trust instead of put walls
Trust
up.
your intuition.
Mhm.
Trust it. Yeah, that's what makes Jen and Raine and me is you go with your gut feel about what it is you want to express, right?
Jan,
You got it, Jan.
do you do a lot of teaching? Because I get really good mentor vibes from you. Like I might be calling you after this.
Feel free to call me. I don't professionally mentor or anything like that, but I'm always happy to have a good discussion and help inspire other people. So.
I think you're both just truly passionate about what you do. And I feel like this word I'm kind of allergic to. I feel like it gets really overutilized. As an artist, people are kind of just like, oh, well, you must be passionate about it. I don't know. The word kind of has some strange connotations for me, but I feel that seeing both of you move through your processes, seeing your work, it reminds me of why the word shouldn't be so dirty.
This is the second chance I've had at a career, and my first one was to earn money, and this one is because I love doing what I'm doing. And if you have the opportunity to combine both, then embrace it really, because it's magical. I really think so.
You're magical, Jan. That's really good reminder.
Jen, did I miss like what the word was that is overused but applies?
Oh, passion.
Oh, passion. Okay, cool.
Just passionate. Yeah, I feel like people.
I wanted to really make sure I got it after.
Sorry.
I was like, oh, I have to make sure this tension is resolved.
Sorry.
I need to be sure that I know.
Yeah,
Thank you. I do feel passionate. Yes.
You do, but do you I sense that it's just me in the group of the three of us. Do you have any weird vibes from that word, the way people apply it to artists?
I sometimes would like it to be more specific, I guess.
I think too, this is kind of going on a bit of a sideways tangent, but I feel like people sometimes act as a musician that that's my full-time, that's how I make money. I feel like sometimes people forget because we all love music so much that yeah, we have to do our art and do our practice like both of you have talked about, but you know, nobody expects a plumber to be in his basement playing with his pipe wrench all night because he's so passionate about plumbing.
Interesting.
And like on even on dating apps, people will be like, "Oh, rad, you're a singer, like let's go do karaoke or like let's jam." And I'm like, "Cool, you're a doctor, let's look at my knee."
Yeah.
Like I love my work. That is no musician or artist gets into it for any other reason other than loving it, because it's hard to make it be a thing. Money is what I'm really politely trying to get at. So if you and or not, or just you do it because you love it, but either way it's motivated by love initially. But I do think that I find people sometimes forget that it is a job for some. And so that's why passion for me is like, yes, passionate, and it's my job.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah.
But okay, rant over. You guys had I've read over your questions as I watched the videos. I think we've hit quite a lot of it. Is there anything else either of you would like to connect on before we wrap?
I'd just like to say it was such a wonderful collaboration, and I'm up for doing this again anytime. So,
anything from you, Raine?
Yeah, right on. Echoing that, Jan. Beautiful to connect with the works and with you over this time frame here, and proud, to work in collaboration with Manitoba Arts Network. Y'all are doing really beautiful work to provide art in our community of Manitoba. Way to go!
Yeah, I'm very honored to be a part of this program, and what a beautiful.
Oh, we lost Jen. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, now we must steer the ship ourselves, Jan, to shore. I think we'll make it.
Yes, well, like you were saying, I'm really grateful Manitoba Art Network provided this opportunity to us with their programming, and I'm happy to get involved and have fun doing stuff like this. There she is.
Totally.
I've never done that in all of 5 shows.
Hi, here you are.
Not sure what I clicked. Anywho, sorry if I interrupted you too.
We are good.
I was just going to say, bravo to Manitoba Arts Network. What a beautiful chunk of human beings that have worked on this. Yes, so much. All of you, you know who you are. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. Thank you too for being so much fun and having so many inspiring things to say. Thank you, audience, if you are still hanging in after I peaced out. Thank you, Canada Council, for funding such an important program. And I mean important for like a million billion reasons over this past year. I hope to do more stuff like this and be a part of more stuff like this. But yeah, bravo to all. Thank you guys so much. I think I'm going to wrap unless I've missed anything.
No, thank you so much, Jen.
We got it.
You bet.
Thanks,
right back at you.
Tuning in, everybody. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.